Hey everyone, welcome back. We are live on the floor from the New England Cannabis Conference 19. Yay, woo woo. Oh yeah. So let's get bullish. All right, what does that mean? Who's into investing? Oh, you don't know? I got a guy He knows what's going on. So we're going to sit down and we're going to talk, and it's going to be fascinating. They did a workshop.
Right. 3 hours, yeah.
3 hours, right? Well, you know what? They don't know you like I know you because we go way back. Introduce yourself.
So they call me the hemp coach.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I've been in the industry for 20 years as an advocate, the last 5 years as a business owner.
Okay.
And I can tell you what makes what we do very, very unique is we take people from never having traded a stock before to teaching or maybe even knowing anything about the cannabis industry and never trading a stock before.
Wow.
And we get you
that's a whammy.
Up to speed enough so that you're able to make some investment decisions and whether or not you want to start investing in the fastest growing industry in the world, which is the cannabis industry. Right?
Absolutely, and it's a smart move, especially if, for people who are already invested, you've got diversification of portfolios.
Yep.
Now people who aren't invested, how can they come in and see you? This is Scott, by the way.
The hemp coach.
Scott Giannatti, the hemp coach. Yep. He's our go-to guy. Would you mind explaining the process just a little bit of, not being afraid? They can come to you. They've got questions at all levels. They don't even know how to invest. They don't know how to get into cannabis. Would you explain that just a little bit?
Sure. Well, we have our website, which is disruptivediscussions.com.
I love it
so
much.
Yeah.
I love it so much.
Because that's what cannabis is. It's the great disruptor, right?
It is the great disruptor.
So it's disrupting. It's going to disrupt Wall Street in a big way. It already has. Yeah. It's
that's
disrupting
like
Wall Street.
growth. More
Absolutely.
on that later.
Yeah. And so you can go on disruptivediscussions.com and you can find out where we're having workshops in the future. This was our pilot workshop here at this convention.
And I heard it was phenomenal.
From what I've heard, it was completely sold out. And we have video that, a sizzle reel, that's going to be on our website, disruptivediscussions.com, probably by the end of
I will be
next
checking
week.
that out for sure. I'm super pumped about this. Anyway, go ahead, not to digress.
No,
go
it's
ahead.
okay. So on disruptivediscussions.com, we're going to have our calendar as to where we're doing the future events. And I know that NECAN's already verbally told me that we'll be at all of their shows. This was the pilot.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah,
That's so
thank
great
you.
for you guys.
We wanted to wait and see how this was going to go before we did the whole thing, because it doesn't make sense to book 7 and nobody showed up to the first, right?
Fair enough.
So people pay about $100 to $150, even $200, depending on the type of event that it is.
Okay.
And that'll also dictate how long we go, right?
Gotcha.
So the typical 3-hour event is between $150 to $200, and we provide people with some supporting documents that they leave with. We go through all the different sectors of the cannabis industry for those people who really are not familiar with the industry.
5, right? You broke it down into 5?
We break it down into 5 key components.
Gotcha.
And I think it makes sense, right? So you have your licensed producers.
Okay.
They grow, they process, and they dispense marijuana. We have the second one, which is drug manufacturers. So people who actually make FDA-approved medicine.
GW Pharma with
GW Pharma.
Epidiolex.
Exactly, with Epidiolex was the first one.
Yep.
This is in the know right here. I like it. And then the third one is the ancillary businesses, which is kind of like a cannabis media company, right?
Yeah.
So as an example,
CNN, follow us.
A packaging company could be an ancillary company.
Okay.
Kushco, Kush Bottles.
Bongs.
You've heard of Kush Bottles?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Aren't they great?
Yeah.
Oh, they're great.
And they're publicly traded. Their stock's done very well.
Yes.
I would say look at Scott's Miracle Grow bought Gavita. A lot of people who are in cannabis know that Gavita has been the go-to HID lamp for all indoor cultivation for the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
And started in the Netherlands, and now Scott's Miracle Grow owns that company.
That's great.
So, people don't even know about things like that.
Yeah.
So we go into things. One of the things we do, people like. Well, we'll get back into that in a minute. Let me finish it off. So the third one is the ancillary companies, licensed producers, drug manufacturers, ancillary companies. Fourth and fifth are both. They're both from the hemp space.
Okay.
Right. We separate the CBD companies from the rest of the hemp business.
Okay.
So the fourth one is the CBD companies. Some of the most popular is Charlotte's Web.
Yes.
They're public.
Yep.
Another one that's public is Pot Network, which owns Diamond CBD.
Yep.
Another one is Elixinol. These are all big names in the CBD space.
Yep.
And there's more. CV Sciences is the CBD Plus oil.
Yep.
They're very well have a lot of distribution. And then the fifth one are the hemp growers and the hemp cultivators.
Okay.
I'm sure you may have heard of Hemp Inc. as one of them. They're one of the original cannabis stocks, right? So there's a lot of people out there that are not aware that the cannabis, like first of all, like, where can I invest?
Right.
So we lay out like what I like to call like the countries. Like there's 5 countries, right?
Yeah.
And then within the country, like which of the citizens do you want to invest in, or which of the companies do you want to invest in?
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
So we try to tell people some of the more popular. We don't make like investment recommendations, but we bring to light some of the companies whose news you're going to see because they pay to promote themselves in the news.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that like they're going to see those names with us for the first time, and then when they're going and they're doing their research, because we actually provide them with a few slides just on resources where they can get news. That really helps people out because they don't know where to go for this information.
People are kind of scared too. Sometimes you think they're like, oh, I don't know, and I don't know enough, and I don't know who to talk to, and they're afraid to kind of dabble into that. And I know with this workshop and kind of creating this safe space where people from all backgrounds, you're in pipes, you're in hemp, will come in and we can teach you how to be, a smart investor, how to diversify your portfolio. And I think that that's really great. Do you find that it's hard to address people on all of those levels, or do you find that everybody's like, oh yeah, no, I'm totally with you, let's do this?
Well, honestly,
I know it's a tough question.
Well, I'm an old school like public speaker. I've been doing it for many years.
Oh, so OG.
So I'm an OG Kush, OG,
Right.
Yeah. What I mean by that is, I just come right and I just say straight. I just speak straight from the hip in the sense that I'm like, look, guys, if you paid $150 for this workshop, you're obviously ready to do something.
Right.
Or maybe you're not ready to do something, but why would you invest $150 if you don't have an intent to do something?
Exactly.
You know what I'm
Stop
saying?
being scared. Just get in and
so
get do something.
I just tell people like, hey, you've already made the jump because you put your money into this.
Right.
And you got to realize that there's nothing to be afraid of because you should never get into this with money that you need.
Exactly.
You should,
Thank you for saying something. Thank you for saying something. Go ahead, and then I got a question for you.
Yeah, there's something called disposable income, and things are disposable, which means that you throw them away, right? So, I'm a cannabis industry expert. So, to be honest, all of my investments are in cannabis stocks.
Okay.
But I made money every year that I've been in this. I've never had a year where I've lost money. So I feel very confident that my money's in a safe space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm coming into this, I tell everybody you start with your disposable income. Money that if you lose it, it doesn't matter to you. But what's so exciting about this field is, like, for example, people don't know that you can have an entire stock portfolio for $100. With you can have an entire stock portfolio for $100. You could have 10, 15, 20, 30 stocks in cannabis for $100.
So let's talk about that real quick, because I know this is like a new thing. You see Robinhood out there and TD Ameritrade, and everybody's getting crypto wallets, and they're doing, you know what I'm saying, Bitcoin, and they're doing all of this. However, a lot of these stocks, some of them, it's kind of pricey. Can we talk? Let's get a little nitty gritty for a second. So let's talk about Canopy Growth, because a lot of people are really familiar with what they're doing, kind of what it's done on the market a little bit. Now, we were talking about, at one point, Canopy Growth was at $13-ish, and they had a really great run. But like you were saying, it's a different price point than what you were just referring to in getting people started, getting people comfortable with a portfolio for about $100. So what would be your recommendations instead of jumping in and say, oh, hey, here's a $13 stock. Here's a, although it's a great company, although it has a lot of, it's solid. I mean, really, when you think about it, they've got a lot of things going on. But what would you recommend? Where do you tell people to start? Where do you guide them to?
Well, let me say this. How many people do you know that don't have $13? Like right now, let's say, for example, I forgot what Canopy is trading at today, but let's say
I haven't checked either.
Let's say it's $50.
Yeah.
How many people you know that don't have $50?
Right.
I mean, right?
Right.
So you can go own. Now you literally own a share in Canopy Growth. You literally are an owner of Canopy Growth.
But you're invested in it, and this is something you're going to now pay attention to.
But look at it like this, right?
Yeah.
There was a time I remember very clearly that Amazon and Facebook were $20 a share.
Oh my gosh, remember?
Very clearly. Okay?
Wow.
And even lower than that, you know. So, like now, Amazon at one point was trading for $1,300 to $1,500 a share.
Yep.
Okay, so who do you know that doesn't have $50 that can't afford to own one share of Canopy Growth? If it goes up to $1,500 one day,
that's a solid bet.
And somebody's like, "Oh, okay, what's the probability of that?" Well, Tilray was trading for $350 a share at one point.
Yeah, didn't they? I don't know. Did they all-time high? Wasn't it like at 420? I know Tesla hit 420. Yeah, it did.
I don't know, but I mean, you know, Tilray debuted in the 20s and went up to something, whatever. So if you just got in and you had $25 and it went up to $400 and something in a matter of like 3 days, would you think that would be a good investment? Like would you be happy with that?
I would be happy.
Right?
I mean, I'd be happy.
Right? So it's like people need to know that you don't have to buy 1,000 shares. You can buy one. That one share that may cost you $20 today in 5 years could be worth 1,000 or 3. You don't know. Nobody knows how high the stock market's going to go.
Exactly.
We don't know what the future holds or how low. People are always worried about the downside. Again, then only deal with your disposable income.
Right. And then
instead of going to the 5-star restaurant, go to the 3-star restaurant and buy a share of stock.
There you go. You
know what I'm saying?
Amazing. Right. A little forethought. You plan out a little bit.
Like, why would you not? This is about your retirement. It's about your industry. And it's about having fun.
No, here's the thing. Let's talk volatility for a second.
Having fun making money. Does it get any better than
I like having fun making money, right?
Exactly,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, and who doesn't like doing it in the cannabis space?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
look, I'd love to be a porn star. I can't, so I trade cannabis stocks.
Hey-o.
It's the next most fun thing I could possibly do.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about talking volatility, right?
Yes.
We want to talk markets and stuff like that.
Right.
People, for whatever reason, at least people that I talk to, they're thinking, oh, well, cannabis is like cryptocurrency and it's really volatile and, well, we don't know and it's just a bubble and it's all going to pop anyway. And I'm thinking to myself, are they for real right now? Are they for real right now? Cannabis is more solid.
It's been here before humans even came onto this earth, and it's going to be here long after we're gone.
Right? Yeah, so I don't think. I mean, yes, there's volatility. Yes, there's still a lot of companies entering the market right now. No, you're fine. No, you're fine. But it's not as dangerous. You know what I'm saying? As people think it is. I mean, do you find a lot of that where they're like, oh, I don't know, where they attribute it to that same boat, like Bitcoin, and they just, oh, cannabis and Bitcoin. Well, they're kind of all in this not real thing category. As far as
honestly, I would find it hard to in the circumstance we're talking about my workshop.
Yeah,
I find it hard to believe anybody who would think that way would spend the $150 to get in.
You would think so, but I'm sure there's somebody, and they haven't said anything. I've met some people just talking on the show just this weekend.
But what I'm saying is this.
Tell me.
I would say this.
You think it's you think it's like a front, and they're just trying not to.
If you're at that point where you're not convinced that this is a real industry, you shouldn't be putting your butt in the seat to potentially invest in it. Like, to me, you need to come to a consensus mentally that you already know that this industry is going flying before you would ever think about putting $1 into it.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead and enjoy cannabis, be an enthusiast, be an advocate, be an activist, but business is business.
Right.
Like, if you're going to actually invest in cannabis, you already have to be solidly convinced that this is a great business. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
So I'm not going to be in my workshop trying to convince anybody whether or not this is a good business to be in.
Yeah.
But we do have a slide where we talk about some industry statistics that give people optimism.
Perfect.
So, one thing that people need to know off the rip is that we have a minimum of a $50 billion black market industry already built into this business.
Yeah,
that's number one. And number two, right now we're only sitting at approximately $10 billion of that 50. So at the very minimum, I think that there's a $40 billion cushion that we have to grow as an industry.
Yeah.
So this is the first business of all time that there was already a business established before it was even born, right?
Exactly.
So
like,
we already know people
now we're just
want
kind of
cannabis.
putting regulations around
So
it,
I'm not
right?
going to try to convince somebody whether or not this is a good business to be in, because you'd have to be an idiot to be to have spent $150 and then you expect me to convince you that this is a business worth being in. I'm just trying to convince you that you can do it. Anybody can do it. Anybody can afford it who has an income. If you don't have an income, then you don't have disposable income. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
Right.
Well, okay, real quick.
Yep.
Your website and your contact information.
Yes.
And then, you know what, you guys, this is a huge topic. It's super important in so many different levels, and it's worth looking into. Scott, thank you so very much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
What is your website, your information, so they have it one more time?
Check out www.disruptivediscussions.com.
Disruptive.
We're going to be launching our event calendar shortly after the show. This is our first one, so we have to put in a calendar now. We have future events, and go to Instagram and check us out at Cannabis and Hemp. Spell out AND, so Cannabis AND.
Good for pointing that out. Yeah,
check it out. We got a lot of good content there from all the different conventions we do, and hopefully we can make a lot of money together. So thanks for having me.
I'm ready.
I'm so glad you knew stuff about this and you were interested in this.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much. I think it's important. Yep. So Elizabeth Damron on the floor.
The hemp
Scott
coach.
Giannatti, the hemp coach. Look him up, you guys. He's super knowledgeable. He's a good guy. I got a guy. He's worth knowing. Thanks, guys. We have some really cool stuff that we're going to be doing here in a second. And check in with us. All right. Thank you.